my name is Christian, and my wife and I own a fish store, and it is called Dar's Aquatics. For everyone that doesn't know about us, we are in Oregon, about as far southern as you can get. And right now we are in our quarantine room right next to this guy. We need a name for him, so if you guys have any suggestions, definitely let us know. He's gonna go out in the store as our pet. All right, well, that was a rant. But anyways, today I just want to get a YouTube video posted. I've probably recorded like 10 different videos. I never get to post them, but there's only one way to start. So this might be a rough editing video or kind of rough all around the edges, but you know what? I'm at least going to get a video posted and I'm excited to do it. So anyways, we're going to show you guys all the new fish we brought in. Let's see if we can there's some rummy nose up there. And so yeah, no, here in a second, I'm gonna flip around the camera and just go through everything we got in, how the order went, if we got any losses, anything like that. And I also wanna note, you can see we don't have any air going in the tanks right now. That's just for me to record because our air pump is so loud. You'd barely be able to hear me. But yeah, let's get to showing you guys the new fish we got in this week. Here is the first tank of fish. These are the rummy nose tetras. I ordered, I believe, 50, and they are looking good. You can see they have that red face on them. They do have meds in the water, which I'll go through what we use too. So I mean, I'm not expecting their colors to be 100% perfect, but what we do look for is, say on their fins, if they have any white dots or their bodies or just any sort of thing that looks out of normal. You can kind of see like the ripped fins. That's kind of normal. We just put 50 rummy nose in a small little bag and they got sent to us. So we're okay with that part, but we do want to keep track and make sure there's no infections or anything in that tank. Okay. Here are the yo-yo loaches. They are small like normal. I know we've had some people come in wanting some bigger ones to start out with. Apparently it's really hard to get big yo-yo loaches, but we got 25 of those guys in there. Then here's one we actually haven't had in a minute. I don't know why, it's been kind of difficult to get them healthy, but look at these German blue rams. Some very nice. You can see like those females are ready to go. You can see the pink spots on their bellies, and we can definitely get you some pairs if you're interested in breeding these guys. They're a lot of fun. I've definitely dove down that hole before. Here are some clown loaches. They're definitely on the smaller side as well, but they are so far nice and healthy, and this is day 2. So like we got them yesterday at about 6 p.m. and now it's the next day at about noon. So this is the first tank where I was kind of interested. The neons are small. Like, I don't even know if you guys can tell, but these guys are so small. Luckily we have still about like 60 neons in the store that are bigger than these guys, but yeah, I mean, they're small, I will say that. And then here we ordered 12 Congos, but we only got 4. And you can see on that guy, he has a little gill plate missing. But I mean, nice size Congos. It looks like we have like 2 males, 2 females. So if you just want a couple to add to your school, definitely let us know. These are one that were way bigger than expected. These are the flagfish. So if you have blackbeard algae, these are the way to go. You can see the males have that nice red color. They are a little nippy, so keep that in mind. You're gonna wanna keep them with stuff bigger than your average tetra size. But these are the biggest I've ever had them in, and they are actually really pretty. And they will help with that pesky blackbeard algae for sure. And for the next tank, I guess I gotta zoom out here. We got a couple of female betas. These weren't on our order, but they will be moved out really soon. There's like 3 of them in here. They're all gorgeous like this one. I don't know if we can find another one right now. They like to hide in that castle. Oh wait, there's one hiding right here. Look at that. My camera control here is not great, but anyways, they're gorgeous. We move on to here. So these aren't gonna show up well on the camera either. They're a Ancestris pleco, which most of you guys will know more commonly as a bristlenose. And these are a spotted variety. The common name would be like a green spot bristlenose, but their scientific name is like an Ancestris hopligens. I haven't had them before, and I've kept all sorts of different types of plecos, but they're very pretty. But yet again, the camera and our LED lights in here are not gonna do them any sort of justice. So we'll move on to the ever so popular cardinal tetras, which came in really healthy. So we only have like 10 left in the store right now, so it'll be nice to move these guys back out on Saturday. And I believe there's, I want to say 50 to 75 of them in there. And just next door is some stir-bys. You can see these guys are struggling a little more. We have one guy not doing too hot, but still hanging on. So we'll see how these guys make it through. It looks like everybody else is happy other than that one. So we'll keep a close eye on them. And hopefully these guys will be out shortly also. See if I can show you one of the males in here. These are the Gardner Achilles. These Gardner eyes are so pretty. But yet again, me on this iPhone is not the best recorder in the world, but there's one. You can see. Anyways, if you don't believe me on how gorgeous these guys are, Google up a Gardner Achilles fish. You will see what I'm talking about. They are insane. You almost don't believe they're a freshwater fish. They're so pretty. And they're definitely a fun one to keep. Look at those big old cories. So these are the Corydoras punctatus. They're a wild caught cory actually, which honestly a good sign if a cory is wild caught or captive bred at a fish store you're going to. If they're massive like this, chances are they're wild caught, which isn't a problem, but you might ask another extra question, like if they've had them for a minute, because I will say the wild caughts do have a bigger tendency to kind of crash. So we have to treat them here with erythromycin as soon as they show up, or else we probably won't have any the next day. I mean, it's that wild sometimes. These are actually our leftover pairs of longfin lemon bristlenose. So if you guys are curious on those, they're back here for now. I don't really have a tank out front to put them, but they're definitely for sale. Look at that guy. He's ready to go. But we also have the panda cories in here. I love the panda cories. Everybody loves the panda cories. But yeah, we have about 30 of those guys that'll be ready for you guys this weekend. Let's see. I bet everybody knows what these are. The things that look like little eels, the striped coolie loaches. One of the absolute most popular fish we sell. We'll have a tank of 200 of them out there, but it'll look like there's 5. So they are a shy one for sure, but they're definitely worth keeping. If you haven't done it yet, you at least have to try them once for sure. Funny enough, I'm just realizing this now. I put our 2 different bags of neons in 2 different tanks, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but these guys, also to show you, are absolutely tiny. They're healthy, but they're tiny. Then the next tank over, not everybody is familiar with these. These are green neon tetras. They're not too much different visually from a regular neon, but what you'll see is their red is not as vibrant, but also they stay about half the size as a regular neon tetra. So if anybody comes in and they want to say to put a group of tetras in a 10-gallon, something like that, these are always the winner. We love these guys. They're pretty like the neons, but don't get quite as big. Let's see. That's actually just another in here. They're all hiding, but believe it or not, there's about 15 of the Corydoras punctatus in here also. They just showed up in 2 different bags, and I figured, why not put them in 2 separate tanks? Let's see. And then these are actually the last fish. These are just some standard old white cloud minnows. So ever popular. They're fun to keep. They will produce some babies for you too, which is always fun. It's always one of my favorite parts of the hobbies. Coming into see your tank, and there's a new little surprise waiting for you. So anyways, that is kind of everything in this whole quarantine rack here. Okay, so I know I mentioned earlier I'd talk about what medicine we use on our fish back here on our new arrivals. So I figured this would be a good spot to show you guys. So everything, as soon as it comes in, before it even hits the water most of the times, they're getting just a regular dose of Icex. So this one, I know it says like the 1 mil per 10 gallons there. This is just because we actually use the pond version of Icex, just because we're doing so many gallons, and this does much more than the regular like freshwater aquarium Icex. So it's just makes more sense monetarily. So that's why we have the label on there. But what I would do is just buy your standard old bottle of Icex, use the normal dose, and then the other thing that we use right away, no matter what, is we use erythromycin. This one's API, just because we could get a bigger bottle of it, but Fritz is what I usually use, but it doesn't really matter. As long as the active ingredient is erythromycin, which you'll always find on the back of the container there under the active ingredients. So those are the 2 things we use right away, is Icex, erythromycin. Now, if you get some fish in, say you're just getting some fish shipped in, or you're getting them from a fish store, and they're just looking super skinny, or your fish in your tank are getting skinnier even though you're feeding them, then it would be the right time to use a dewormer. Now, these are the 2 like most popular, I would say, meds in the hobby for deworming. Fritz kind of rules the whole medicine part of the hobby. Anyways, this is what we use. Paracleanse I prefer for using external parasites. That's things like doing, I would say like any sort of like skin little worms, and sometimes you can see them, or like gill flukes, I'll use Paracleanse. And then if it's anything like actually wasting disease, or your fish are getting just super skinny and it's nothing externally, I would use the Expel P. I find it better for internally deworming the fish. I'm no expert by any means, so kind of do your own research on that also, but that's just what I've found well for our fish store and I've gotten the best results out of. That is going to do it for today's video. I appreciate you guys watching. Like I was saying earlier, might not be the best of this whole YouTube thing, but there's only one way to get better at it. So I'm just going to go ahead, edit this, get it posted for you guys. And if you have any recommendations or you want to see something specific, then definitely let me know in the comments down below. I think the next video I will plan on doing kind of like a store tour, because I don't think I've ever like officially shown you guys the whole shop on YouTube. So yeah, I will start working on that now, but definitely leave a comment on anything you'd like to see.